Hi, everyone. Before we begin, I just wanted to take a quick second to introduce myself. My name is Daniela Kelly, and I'm a sophomore here at U of H, and I want to major in business, more specifically, supply chain. In this course, we've learned many things, but one of the highlights of this class is being able to see many people's points of views, as well as just discussing and learning about people and how each culture does things differently, especially when it comes to women. So, after browsing through many topics, I decided to research over gender imbalance in China. I found this topic very interesting because I've always wondered what effects China's one child policy has had on their population. And also, this was a way to not only learn more for myself, but to also spread the knowledge to others that have also wondered. The information I'm presenting is from a YouTube video called China's Population Crisis: Birth Rate, Gender Imbalance, Leftover Women. I chose this one specifically because I thought the information was very well explained and it doesn't go over one specific issue but many issues within the topic. We will also just go more in depth here pretty soon. All right, so some of the major points I want to discuss today are China's cultural pressure to get married before the age of 25 specifically. Also, the term leftover women, China's one child policy, and something called a bride price. So, overall, the beginning information is going to lead up to a bigger picture, which will sum up the point of this presentation. So, that being said, let's begin. Okay, so societal pressure to marry. So, in China, there's a strong concept of family. In a survey done, 60% of respondents from a Chinese survey said that they were introduced to blind dates by their parents. Now, that's very different from our culture here, so it kind of gives us a different point of view. They also started doing rent a partner, which creates business opportunities. So that's basically where people who are single, who are facing pressure from their family and loved ones, they go onto this website and they find a boyfriend or girlfriend to bring home to their family just to pretend so they don't have to face the marriage pressure. Unfortunately, for this marriage pressure, a lot of people have committed suicide due to like the immense pressure. Due to the gender imbalance as well as differences in ratios and economic status, there has been a good sum of women who still choose to be single. As a result, the derogatory term leftover women was created. The term leftover women is commonly used to describe urban working women who are still single by the age of 27. The term was heavily pushed and promoted by the Chinese government to actively warn women that if they are not married by the age of 30, they would become an unwanted old woman and live the rest of their lives alone. Many scientists believe that the purpose of the media's frequent promotion of the term leftover women may be due to the unbalanced male to female ratio in China. Which leads me to China's one child policy. Majorly responsible for China's gender imbalance is its one child policy. The one child policy was implemented by the Chinese government in order to alleviate the social, economic, and environmental problems associated with the country's rapidly growing population. So, that being said, in China, males tend to be more valued than females because they can carry on the family name. Unfortunately, many pregnant women conducted gender tests first and choosing abortion if it wasn't a male. So as a result, there was a skyrocket in male population, and girls were born at a least frequent rate. The typical international sex ratio at birth is 102 to 107 in most countries. but in China it was 100 to 122 after its one child policy. Lastly, we're discussing bride price. So in China, it's very common for Chinese parents to treat their daughters as personal assets rather than its independent personalities. So as a result, you know, they kind of auction off their daughters, I guess. In order for a man to marry a woman, the man has to send some cash to the woman's family. Uh, in a survey, it was conducted that 40% of men gifted houses and cars, but in contrast, only about 30% of the women's family gifted food, wine, or furniture, things that were much less expensive. In Chinese culture, marriage becomes a means of satisfying your parents rather than for the woman's personal gratification. All in all, this topic is heavily tied with our course because in this course, we've studied the intersection of gender in society while also examining the different lifestyles of people from around the world. Most importantly, women's experiences in thousands of diverse cultures. We have also learned through course material and individual research about the relationships between power and gender, as well as oppressions based on gender, which ties back to my topic gender imbalance in China. Lastly, a couple questions that I myself have had time to think over and think would be enlightening for other students to discuss are the following. How much or how would gender imbalance affect crime rates, including rape and assault toward women in many countries? And how does China's cultural norms differ from your own cultural traditional norms?